Alright, so now that we've got our brass deprimed and resized, we're ready to bell it out, which is basically we're going to open up the case mouth just a little bit in order to put the bullet on. Because right now we've shrunk it down so much that a bullet will not fit inside the brass. So I'm going to rotate the turret to the belling die. And also at this step we're going to put a primer on. Now the Lee turret press works with this little primer adapter. And there's one for small primers and large primers. We're going to use the large primers because the 50 does use a big ass primer. And I have some large Magnum pistol primers. And basically I'm going to take my primer and I'm going to put it in this little cup right here, upside down. So there's the inside of the primer, if you will. So I'll set that right here. And like I said, we've already moved our die, so I'll come up here, I'll bell that out. Then on the downstroke of the ram, I'll push that inside like that. And I push the handle up, and that basically puts our new primer in. And the goal of this is to get it in flush or even beyond flush. Mainly you want to sink that primer in just a little bit below the rim here. So there's one. This is pretty time consuming putting these primers in, you know, considering you have to handle two things at once. You got to handle the brass and the primer. But once you get a rhythm, it's not so bad. Alright, last one, primed and ready to go. Now we're done with this. I can toss that aside. So our next step is to put some powder in these bad boys. No reloader is complete without some kind of book. You need a reference manual of some kind. There's many out there. I happen to be using a Lyman. So we turned to our page for the 50 Action Express, and this gives us the specs on the overall length, so we don't want to go any longer than that. So if we go longer than that, it may not fit in the magazine and it may not run in the gun. But anyways, I'm going to use a 325 grain bullet, and I'm going to use H110. So our minimum powder charge is 31.2 and our max is 32.5. That's not much of a difference. So I'm probably going to go say 31.8. Yeah, that'll work. 31.8, and that should get us around 1300 feet per second. So yeah, 31.8. So we'll come over here, and I'm going to cheat. I have a digital scale with an auto dispenser. You know, I used to use the old balance beam thing, and golly, man, I tell you what, it's talk about taking a long time to do something. This thing's pretty simple. You just basically pour your powder, and I've got some H110 here. So I'm going to pour that in to the hopper. Okay. And I will come over here and I will type in the numbers 3. Let's see if I can get that right. My keyboard's not as responsive as it should be. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. 0.8. So now we're going to dispense 31.8 here, and then I can press the old dispense button. Kick back, drink a beer as this dispenses our powder. Like I said, this is cheating. If you've ever used the balance beam, this is so much better. And when it's done, it'll tell me. The little dust cover here is basically to keep any kind of wind, breezes from the air conditioner if you're outside for whatever reason. You know, at the range, doing this on the fly, which I don't recommend. It's to keep the wind, because any kind of disturbance on the scale in there is going to make the weight fluctuate. So there's our 31.8. Okay, so 31.8 is our powder charge. I'll open the little dust cover, take off the powder, and pour it in our ready to go case here. That is a lot of powder. I'm used to loading the 45 ACP. I usually put about around 4.5 grains of a different type of powder. This is 30 grains. It's just, this is how much I put in a rifle case, so this is pretty crazy to me. Always got to check the book twice too. This definitely speeds up the process for reloading by having an electronic powder dispenser. It's not a must. People have been reloading with a balance beam forever, but it's a nice luxury. So once I load it, I'll put it in my little tray right here. And I'm just going to keep filling these suckers up. Okay, so we've got our brass filled with powder, and our die is set to seat the bullet at the proper depth. I've already preset everything according to the book. And now we're going to put this 325 grain hollow point in there. Good God, what a big bullet. A 45 ACP is 230. This is 325. So we take our brass case with our powder in it, set it on the shell plate holder, take our bullet, set it on top like so. Then we use the ram and it seats the bullet. And here is our completed round. Almost completed. We have one more stage to do, and that's basically to put a crimp around the edge, and I'll go over that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and put some more of these bullets on there. Okay, so now we've got all our bullets seated in the case. We're all ready to go, except we need to crimp, to put a crimp on it. Now crimping is basically we're bending the mouth of the brass. So I'm going to get my camera to focus on that. We're bending the mouth of the brass right there where it meets the copper jacket, and we're going to bend it just a little bit and just kind of taper it into the bullet. And this is to keep the bullet from moving back and forth, just keep it more a little bit stabilized when it's in the gun shooting. It's not as critical in an autoloader, but in a revolver you definitely want to have some crimp on it, because if you have, say in a revolver you have 6 shots in there, you have 6 bullets in the cylinder. When the gun goes off, that inertia from the gun going off can actually make these bullets move inside the case, either in or out, usually out, and then the cylinder will get stuck with spinning. But we're going to put a crimp on this anyway, because we're going to shoot some of this in a revolver as well. So I'm going to take out the let's take out the decapping, or the deprime resize die. Rotate it around, so we'll remove that. Just simply screws right out. And then we'll take the taper crimp die and we'll screw it in its place. Like I said, if I had a 4-head press and not a 3, I wouldn't be doing this. I could just rotate it and go again. So now we'll take this in here. See if I can get that close without, see if it'll focus. And it's probably not going to show up. I might just take a still photo and show it and throw it in there so you can see. But basically that just put a little crimp right around the edge, and it's going to give it a little bit more of a stable hold, if you will, when it's in the gun. So now we have to run these through this. This is a fairly simple operation. There's really nothing to think of. You just put it in and, and crimp it. Alright, 50 rounds of 50 AE. Now, I bought 50 bullets to load these with, and it cost me about $35. And if you do look around on the internet, you'll find loaded ammunition in boxes of 20, anywhere from $35 to $45. So this is saving some considerable cash. So now let's go out and take a look, see how it does. And don't forget to subscribe for more competition shooting and gun reviews. Thanks for watching, guys.